There are many kinds of death. And some are better than others.
Once you walk onto that mainland, there's no rescues.
Oh.
Scared? A little bit.
There's no power in the war.
28 years later, rated R.
My name is Jason. I'm the last manager of the last video store in the universe. And I'm coming to you from sunny tropical Akron, Ohio, where I just left the movie theater to see the brand new flick by Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. Let's get into it, shall we? Yep, I just saw 28 years later. I don't remember much about 28 weeks later. I remember the helicopter scene towards the end. And I remember 28 days later, but it's been very hard to find. I think they only really have some, I think it maybe made it to Blu-ray, kind of. I think it maybe made it to Blu-ray. But it's hard to find in the States. It's not streaming anywhere. So I didn't do a revisit. I went into this as cold as possibly could be. And I'm going to try to avoid all spoilers up front. But if you are a patron over at patreon.com/binge movies, at any level, you would get this with spoilers, an extended spoiler discussion. So the basic setup is that there is an island off of the coast of England. And it is one of the holy islands. You know, it's like a sacred space from back in medieval times and whatnot in Christendom. And people have retreated there. And so the mainland of England and the other British Isles have remained no-go zones for the rest of the world. And the rest of the world has moved on. And the rest of the world has continued to develop much like the real 21st century has. But this island, these people are stuck not just in 2002 or whenever that movie came out, but they're stuck even beyond that because they're living a more agrarian, fishermanly, kind of pre-industrial revolutionary kind of life. There's obviously people who have memories of the past, but the kids of that generation are now the adults of this generation, which, by the way, it's going to probably make you feel old as fuck if you're of a certain age. Okay. That being said, it's only been 23 years since the actual movie. So we're 5 years early on this. I think if you go into this movie expecting the kind of gritty early 2000s, lo-fi, Danny Boyle, grisly horror movie, you're going to be, I don't want to say disappointed. There's elements of that, but what you have here in more ways than one is an evolution upon that. And I'm very grateful for that because it would have been kind of easy, even though I would not expect Boyle or Garland to do this. It would have been very easy to just sort of re-up, you know, the kind of tell a similar story, or at least tell a different story with a similar visual style. There's still a shit ton of visual innovation here and a ton of grisly horror movie set pieces. But I would say the overall tone is much more of a psychological family drama in the midst of grisly horror and morbidity. And it's at times very much a meditation piece. And overall, I would say it's actually a 5-act film, not a 3-act. It has a prologue and an epilogue that are loosely connected to what is happening in the middle of the story, the traditional 3 acts. And those 3 acts are actually almost 3 distinct movies. You have, and distinct isn't exactly right. They're almost 3 mini films that follow the same cluster of characters. You have in that main bulk of the movie, you have a father, a son, and a mother. And the first part of the film is really about the father and the son. The second part of the film is really about the son and the mother. It doesn't exactly break up this way because there's some crossover, right? So it's like 1.5 acts is about father and son. And I guess a little bit of act 2 would be about father, son, and mother. And then it becomes about son and mother. And then there's some crossover to some other stuff. And then the father comes back into the picture. And if people saw this and said, it doesn't entirely congeal into something that makes like story sense to me, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with him. I think the movie does make sense, but I don't think it's exactly what people are expecting it to be. And I will say, this is a one spoiler I will give you up front. You've never seen so much penis in your entire life. I mean, maybe some of you have, right? If you spend a summer on Fire Island, you've seen this much and more, but you might not have seen quite as big. If you ever wanted to feel a little self-conscious about the size of your own hog, wait till you see the Ripper on one of these fucking zombies. And I know they're not really zombies, but fuck it. We're going to call them zombies. And guess what? A character in the movie calls them zombies too. So that kind of settles that debate, doesn't it, motherfuckers? Okay. Yeah, they're zombies. Officially now, in canon. Go fuck yourself. That's probably what Alex Garland is thinking. Yeah, that zombie has a bigger hog than you. I'm not having a good time. I want to go home now. Holy Island, where the zombies are hung like you. I like this movie quite a bit. There's parts of it I like more than not. I think the first act is great and is probably what most of you or a lot of people who are signing up to watch this movie want from the movie. I was much more invested in the second chunk of the film. The third chunk, I think, is good to okay. But it starts to kind of lose its way, and then it ends with that fifth act, with that epilogue. And I don't know what the fuck I was supposed to get after that. I didn't hate it, but it is also one kind of, it's visually not dissimilar to Jim Cotta. Or it's almost something out of like The Kingsman. I don't know how to describe it to you any other way without spoiling the movie. But pole vaulting is involved, and not Tremor style, Jim Cotta style. It's fucking weird. It's really fucking weird. It almost makes me think that Garland just kind of wants to take the piss out of sequel bait. And so he set up something that's then and put it into such a position it's so fucking stupid. Because it's my understanding that they 28 weeks later, neither one of them were a fan of, and I think it's kind of retconned out of existence based on this movie. So I think this is their way of sort of like future-proofing the series. Like, no more of these. This is it. And if you're gonna do it, you gotta try to work around this real stupid shit I threw in the end. I mean, I don't know if he's that cheeky, but Garland kind of feels that cheeky to me. So that was my takeaway on it. I really liked it. If you want to know more spoilers, I'm going to cover them here in the next few minutes. So hang on. If you're not a patron, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to binge on.